Welcome to another episode of International, a series of short, sharp videos on the national newspaper online, looking at areas of geopolitics, events and how they relate back to Scotland. Now this week we're going to be looking at the relationship between the UK royal family, the House of Windsor, and the royal family of Saudi Arabia, the House of Saud. Not necessarily a question of monsters, but of flawed characters, poor strategy, and three thematic links which link together these two dynasties, their countries, and areas of foreign policy. With news of a new royal wedding in the pipeline, I thought we'd look at something completely different. How does the House of Windsor and the House of Saud bond themselves together? How do they serve one another? Well, the first thematic link we can draw is the issue of legitimacy. Both houses have a severe deficit in legitimacy, democracy, in their commitment to democratic values, as well as human rights, especially when we look at the case of the House of Saud, desperately trying to juggle the interests between a very conservative religious establishment at home, but the desire for economic reform as well as trying to improve its image abroad to its European partners, as well as to justify itself to its main benefactor, the United States. At home, the House of Windsor presents itself as the linchpin of a liberal democracy concerned for human rights and as a representation of a people still wedded to its institutions, even as the British state comes under huge amounts of pressure. Both serve each other's interests in the sense of prestige as well as legitimacy, at home within their respective states, but also on the international stage. The second factor has to be longevity. Now, the House of Windsor, of course, is a reincarnation of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha. The House of Windsor changed their name from a much more German-sounding name to a far more Anglo-Saxon-sounding name as a result of the First World War and fears about anti-German sentiment being targeted towards the royal family. Having said that, the House of Windsor is the latest incarnation of a royal dynasty going back centuries and centuries. It has the accumulated prestige, and it also has a certain brand that many Gulf monarchies are desperate to acquire and hold close to themselves as a way of strengthening themselves at home. If we look at the House of Saud, Saudi Arabia as a nation state was founded in 1932 with the help of the British, conservative factions, religious factions, as well as tribes. Now, this is a state which is very young. It is ruled over by an autocratic royal family, which has desperately always craved stability, and the stability and honour that comes with longevity and that long-term sense of security. Connecting yourself to the House of Windsor, making deep personal relationships with someone like Prince Charles, the heir to the throne, as well as making business contacts with people in the royal household, is a key way to gain this longevity. Just as a side note, the current king, King Salman, was born in 1935. That's 3 years after the founding of the state. That gives you an idea of how young this nation is and how young the dynasty is, and that sense of deep insecurity that's being inculcated within the dynasty as well as the descendants, even someone as young as Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The third factor has to be luxury. Now, the United Kingdom is the third and final feature has to be that of luxury. Now, the kingdom is the UK's largest weapons client. It's bought roughly about £3 billion worth of British arms over the past 2 to 3 years. We've seen the main effect of such arms being used in the blockade and enforcing of starvation in Yemen. Now, this is another example of how the royal family is absolutely crucial in the sense of giving a cultural stamp of legitimacy and approval onto these arms deals. Of course, there are issues with arguments being made by the former Secretary of Defence, Michael Fallon, that these arms deals are crucial for leverage. They're important for British jobs. And of course, unions such as Unite were bemoaning the loss of 2,000 jobs by BAE Systems, a main benefactor of contract deals with the House of Saud. But there's also another area of the military-industrial complex, and that's of training of officers, the institution of Sandhurst officer training. Almost every single Gulf tyranny has sent its police force chiefs, its army chiefs, its navy and air force officers, as well as sons, cousins, brothers, to British institutions with the royal seal of approval. Additionally, in this luxury bracket, we can look from 2008, where Saudi Arabia has spent £5.5 billion on British defence contracts, most of it with BAE Systems, and the special influence spreads to neighbouring Sunni states, with Oman, UAE, Kuwait, Qatar and Bahrain spending a further £3.6 billion on British hardware since 2008, quite apart from the ongoing relationships to supply maintenance and training. The Gulf is one of the UK's few growing markets. We've already done videos on this linking to post-Brexit trade agreements. A vast majority of Ministry of Defence and civil service personnel are therefore devoted to serving these vital trade relationships, and former British ambassador to Riyadh, Simon Collins, is not alone in pointing out the huge significance of royal-to-royal links in making an impact. All these three thematic links show us the connection between the House of Windsor and the House of Saud. It's time for us to ignore the petty spectacles such as the royal wedding and focus on the bread and butter issues that link the elites in both of our countries. The House of Saud has committed innumerable crimes across the Middle East, specifically in Yemen. It's time for us to ask for accountability at all levels and within all institutions across the British state.